watching Primetime. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Let's take a look at the top headlines. RBI is dealing year-end bonuses to the heads of top private banks. Bloomberg learns that CEOs of HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank and Axis Bank are among those yet to receive bonuses for the last financial year. Indian markets post their best weekly performance in over 2 months. Both the Nifty and Sensex gain over 2% this week. Both houses of parliament are adjourned, bringing to an end a washed-out budget session. Data shows that this session has been the least productive in the last 18 years. PM Modi hails the Bharatiya Janata Party as the party of New India on its 38th Foundation Day. Amit Shah assures that the BJP will never allow the removal of SC/ST reservation, likens the opposition to animals banding together to survive the Modi wave. Donald Trump warns of another round of trade sanctions aimed at China, this time on goods worth $100 billion. China says it will counter any U.S. move, whatever the costs. And Facebook's chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, says some advertisers have scaled back spending after the data privacy crisis. She takes responsibility for the data breach at the company in an interview to Bloomberg. Well, Star is undoubtedly the king of cricket. As of this week, they also have bagged the rights for all domestic games in India from the BCCI auctions for over 6,000 crore rupees. And we're speaking now to Uday Shankar on what that means for Star India as well as for Indian cricket. Mr. Shankar, thank you for speaking with us here at Bloomberg Quint. A lot of calculations have gone on since the final rates were revealed yesterday, and of course Star India itself has paid nearly 50 to 60% more than you did in the last round of auctions. At 60 crore rupees per domestic game, do you think it's a tad expensive?
No, I don't think it's too expensive, because the number that you're talking about, Tamanna's sum of rupees 60 crores, is actually the average price, and it is spread over the entire payout obligation is spread over 5 years, and in the first few years it is less than 50 crores that we are paying. So it steps up as we go along. As the economy improves, the media market gets bigger and better, and I think the ability to advertise on sports gets better. So all those factors taken together, I think it's a fairly reasonable price, and you can see that the other bidders were willing to pay about the same amount of money. When we are number one, but with a really narrow margin of less than like 20 crores.
Mr. Shankar, when you and I spoke last September after the IPL auctions and the IPL bids were won by Star India, and at that time every IPL match was about 54 crore rupees per match by that calculation. I remember you telling me that IPL has much more viewership and much more sticky viewership as compared to, say, India playing with a smaller cricketing nation. Right now, you have, in effect, even on an average, paid more for a domestic cricket game. Does it match up in terms of viewership?
I do not recall that conversation exactly, but what I think happens is that when the Indian team plays, the ratings are actually better than the average IPL match. Of course, the IPL playoffs, etc., and some games rate very highly, but so does the national team rating, because when the Indian team plays, for instance, England, Australia, South Africa, Pakistan, countries like that, then the ratings are really, really big. Even for tier 2 teams, the ratings are very big, because, the national sentiment begins to play in there. The challenge there is in test matches, which have a niche audience, and they do not get that kind of rating. But then overall, when you see it as a bundle of products, I think the price that we have paid, in our view, is fairly acceptable.
Okay, one question of what the overall picture looks like. You have IPL, you have domestic cricket, you have the World Cup as of now, some international games as well. What is the big picture for Star Sports and cricket?
I think, look, our journey in sports has been relatively recent. We used to be present through a joint venture, but as Star India, it started in 2012. We started with the rights that were available to us, but we always had a plan that over a period of time we would be able to turn over the rights and get to what we believe would be optimum portfolio, which is ICC plus IPL plus BCCI. It's taken us 6.5 years to get there, and we are really excited that we've got there. In the process, you may have noticed that we have also surrendered many rights, which are great rights, but we thought that they were expensive and they did not fit in our agenda. For instance, the bilateral rights with Australian board and the British, cricket board. We don't have South Africa, etc. So it's always a journey. Now we have come to this balanced position where we have the rights that we need, and it's selective, but it's all very high quality.
All right. I'm also speaking with you, Mr. Shankar, on the eve of the IPL kick-off this season, and that has been a huge acquisition for Star India, no doubt. What are we going to see different this year that Star will provide, homing the IPL to viewers?
Lots of things. Look, IPL has been done very, very well over the last 10 years. I think BCCI has done an amazing job of developing that asset. So the core will remain the same, but you will see, for instance, at Star, we are very, very committed to taking content in people's own languages deeper and wider, and you will see a massive push in that direction. For the first time, IPL commentary will be available as a separate feed, independently produced feed in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and Bengali, besides Hindi and English. We also felt that there was one of the things that we thought, because IPL is so focused on the mass market, though the really evolved and educated fans of cricket sometimes didn't get enough to their taste, and we are creating a Star Sports Select content, which is for the evolved fans of cricket who want to go deeper into the nuances. You will see a lot more, pace, a lot more investment in the quality of pictures and graphics, etc. So you will see a whole bunch of things. It's an incremental process. It's already a property that's so high quality. But I think, given our understanding of the consumption and tastes of the fans in this country, we should be able to delight them a great deal more this year.
On Hotstar, I believe you're also monetizing the content. After the first 10 minutes, you will have to pay to watch the IPL matches on Hotstar. Are there
Yes.
new varieties of monetizing the content that are being developed as well?
No, we look, Hotstar has been around for 3 years. Its reception among sports lovers and content lovers has been phenomenal. It has already become one of the most successful content destinations in the world, and I can't recall any other sports digital destination that is as big and successful as Hotstar. So we felt that time was ripe for us to put it, to start offering it as a subscription service. The big news is that it will be available as a non-delayed service. As the free stream used to be a few minutes delayed, now this time for those who pay, it's a very attractive price point of 299 rupees for the whole year of all sports, and which is very compelling in our view. We've also created a lot more attractions. So there is a game for those who want to be even more engaged, and there will be virtual reality experiences, which again for the first time will be done live for any sports tournament. So I think Hotstar has leaped to a new level where it's a very, very cutting edge contemporary digital destination no matter which product you compare it with. And that's why we felt fans would be willing to pay to get that experience.
Is there a revenue target for IPL 2018 that you have in mind for the big bucks really that you've paid for it?
Of course, there is a revenue target, Tamanna, and I would be constrained not to share the details of that with you. However, suffice it to say that I think IPL was always very well monetized, but what we have managed to do is to clearly reinvent the monetization model, and that is why we have reset the revenue thresholds comprehensively this year.
All right, I had to take a shot at asking that question, but thank you so much, Uday Shankar, for speaking with us, Star India chief there, on the latest big blockbuster acquisition, which is the BCCI rights for domestic cricket for the next 5 years, which also now rest with Star India. Well, top private bankers may have to wait a little longer for their bonuses. The Reserve Bank of India is delaying the year-end bonuses as it questions the size of the payouts, especially at a time when concerns are being raised over the lenders' performances. And Anthony of Bloomberg News has all the latest.
The top private sector bankers in the country are yet to receive the bonus for the financial year that ended March 31, 2017. While the boards have approved the bonuses, the variable pay bonuses for the top CEOs ranging from Chanda Kochar, Aditya Puri and Shikha Sharma, the Reserve Bank of India hasn't yet approved the payout to these bankers. The central bank is raising questions regarding these variable pay bonus payouts, as all these lenders has gone through various issues ranging from corporate governance to stressed asset divergence during this period. As you recall, Axis Bank and HDFC Bank were pulled up by the central bank for not disclosing the true state of their asset quality. ICICI Bank is also facing various investigations based on allegations regarding the CEO. So it remains to be seen by when the central bank will approve these payouts. Back to you.
Right, the CBI has questioned the ICICI Bank MD and CEO Chanda Kochar's brother-in-law Rajiv Kochar for the second day. This is in connection with the bank's 3,250 crore rupee loan to Videocon Group in 2012. Rajiv Kochar was detained at the Mumbai airport yesterday on the basis of a lookout circular issued by the CBI. The agency has registered a preliminary probe naming Videocon Group promoter Venugopal Dhoot, Chanda Kochar's husband Deepak Kochar and unidentified others in connection with the loan. A preliminary inquiry is the first step by the CBI to gather information about the allegations. If the agency is convinced that there exists prima facie material in the matter, it may register a regular case against the accused. Meanwhile, ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochar's husband Deepak Kochar said in an interview to India Today that Chanda Kochar did not know about his venture with Videocon Group's Venugopal Dhoot till Dhoot decided to exit New Power Renewables. He further added that inviting Dhoot into New Power Renewables was one of his biggest mistakes. Kochar also told India Today that about 22 days after setting up New Power, Dhoot decided to leave the company as he had other interests in oil and telecom. Now moving on to the latest from the PNB fraud case, the Delhi High Court has sought a reply from the Enforcement Directorate on a plea by Mehul Choksi's firm Gitanjali Gems. The plea challenged the alleged illegal seizure of documents and articles belonging to Gitanjali Gems by ED. The High Court said it will hear the case along with a similar pending plea by Nirav Modi on April 11th. The NCLAT has allowed Reliance Communications to proceed with its assets sale. This comes after the Supreme Court set aside a Bombay High Court order which ruled in favor of operational creditor Ericsson. Arpan Chaturvedi, who was in the courtroom, sums up the development.
Well, the NCLAT today has allowed the sale of Arcom assets, the towers which are concerned, on two main conditions. One is that banks are now allowed, of course, to enter into sale agreements, but the money that will be received, that will have to be kept in a separate escrow account. And now, these petitions were basically, if you remember yesterday in the Supreme Court, there were two main petitions which were filed, one related to a challenge against a Bombay High Court stay order, which the Supreme Court had vacated, but the NCLT order, which was after a petition filed by HSBC Daisy Investments, that petition, on that order, the Supreme Court had said that the petitioner should approach the NCLAT for vacation of the stay. And after that, of course, today we saw that this petition come up in the NCLAT, and they passed these two directions. And now the final order in this case will be heard, will be passed after the NCLAT hears this matter and the objections of both parties. And the next date of hearing is 18th April.
Now, Indian markets extended gains for the second week and clocked its best weekly performance in over 2 months. Both the Nifty and Sensex posted marginal gains today. On a weekly basis, however, both the indices clocked sharp gains. And the Central Board of Direct Taxes has notified the new income tax return form for FY19. The salaried class assessees will now have to provide a detailed salary breakup. Further to this, businessmen have been asked to furnish their GST numbers and turnover in the new ITR form as the IT department seeks to curb tax evasion. Several fields have been changed in the latest form. The forms can be filed electronically except for some categories of taxpayers. And for more on this, I'm joined now by Amarpal Chadha, tax partner and India mobility leader at EY. Very good evening, Mr. Chadha. If you can take us through what is different this year, what are the major differences in the ITR forms this year?
Sure. So basically, this move of getting more details through the form, it seems like it's germinating out of the e-assessment, where the government is trying to get everything electronic. So they brought in some changes into the income tax forms, typically the ITR 1 and 2, which are used by the individuals. I'll take you through a few of the important points that they've made in the changes. One, they have introduced the penalty for delay in filing returns through the form, so that there is additional field that has been built in. Last year, there was a field to declare the cash deposits because of demonetization. That's gone. That has been removed. Under the TDS section, if you're receiving rent more than 50,000, there is a requirement now to disclose the PAN of the tenant in the return form. These are common across. So both the ITR 1 and the ITR 2 have the similar changes. But if you look at ITR 1, which is the salary form, which is typically used for people earning below 50 lakh, in that form, they have restricted the usage only to residents and ordinary residents. So non-residents or not ordinary residents cannot use ITR 1 anymore, and they will have to go and use the ITR 2 form, which requires much more details. It has a lot of disclosures that need to be filled up. But the ITR 1 is restricted to people who have salary income, have income from other sources, and one house property. The change even in ITR 1 is now the department is seeking many more details on the salary income as well as on the house property income. One would have to give the rent, the standard deduction avail, all in the form now. And my understanding is this is more to do with the fact that the government is trying to move the assessments and processing of returns more digital. So this would help them capture the right data rather than sending notices and collecting this data from the individuals. Similarly, this is ITR 1. In ITR 2, there have been changes that have been brought in. Now, a non-resident can provide a foreign bank account and claim refund. There is a disclosure requirement for disclosing their foreign bank account. Additional disclosures have been brought in for capital gains. For non-residents, you need to give many more details if you have unquoted shares, if you are claiming the benefit of double taxation avoidance agreement. There are new columns that have been introduced in the ITR forms, which you need to provide details in. Earlier, even a partnership income could be disclosed in ITR 2, but now it is being moved out of ITR 2, so now you have to compulsorily use a business form, even if you have partnership income. People who have capital gains, typically the household income when you buy a house and sell in another house, the Section 54, there are more details that need to be provided if you're claiming that exemption. Similarly, other factors on the assets and liabilities disclosures, there have been changes that have been made for other sources income.
Sure.
I know this is already a lot, so this is in a summary the changes that have come in the forms.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Chadda, for the primary changes which have been made. But just one small question on your view on what these changes are aimed at. You said, of course, that so that there is easier move to digitization. Is it also for enhanced scrutiny, especially when you look at for salaried employees, the requirement of breakup? To what end would that be?
So, my feel, Tamanna, this is more to do with the fact that processing of returns requires additional information. So, to avoid that to and fro, this information is being sought so that they can match records. Because anyway, this information goes through the employer, through the quarterly returns. So, all the department is trying to do is get that additional information if you restrict it to salary. But I take your point on the other disclosures, which are for capital gains and other, where the people are taking the treaty benefit. There definitely the department is trying to garner more information to be able to scrutinize the details.
Thank you so much for all of those details. Amarpal Chadda from EY there explaining the changes in the ITR forms this year and what they mean. Now, the RBI in its monetary policy statement yesterday had directed all financial payment operators to store data relating to its users within India. The RBI now has released more details to the norms that companies have to comply with, and Vishwanath Nair is joining us with those details. Vishwanath?
Yeah, Tamanna. So as you said, this is a sort of an extension of what the RBI said yesterday. And at that point in time, they had said that within a specified period of time, these companies will have to bring in all the payments-related data on Indian servers. And now the RBI set a 6-month deadline for that compliance. And by the 15th of October, all of these companies who are in the payment systems network or that ecosystem, they all have to submit a report saying that they have complied with the RBI's norms of bringing all this data to India by the 15th of October. At the end of this period, they have to also conduct a system audit review. This review which shall be conducted only by auditors who are empaneled with a CERT, which is the central organization that looks at all all cybersecurity related problems. So only after this review has been submitted by the 31st of December will these companies be considered compliant with the RBI's new norms. Of the details that the Reserve Bank is asking is full end-to-end transaction data, any kind of instructions, payment instructions that the companies might be giving to their customers, as well as any payment-related information that might be there. So all of this information will have to be stored on Indian servers. What the Reserve Bank of India puts out as a reason for this is because they say that companies have not been doing this. There are certain companies who are storing part of it in India, part of it abroad, or mostly abroad, and just so that they can help, manage cybersecurity better and have a better control at all of these systems. The Reserve Bank of India requires this data to be onshore, and that is what has come out in the guidelines today.
Thank you so much for that, Vishwanath Nair, there with the latest. Now, both houses of Parliament were adjourned today, sine die, as protests washed out the budget session. Nearly 250 working hours were wasted in the session due to disruptions in Parliament over issues like special status to Andhra Pradesh, demand for Kaveri Water Management Board, bank scams, vandalizing of statues, the recent review of the Supreme Court order on SC/ST Act. Just 5 bills, including the crucial Finance Bill 2018, were passed in the budget session in just 18 minutes, that too. The no confidence motion tabled by YSR Congress and TDP were not taken up during the session because of disruptions. So just how unproductive was this budget session? Here's the report.
Please listen to me. You don't want to run the house. I want to take no confidence motion, but you don't want to run. So please go. Today is the last day. We will have national. We will have Vande Mataram. You go to your seat, please. No, I will sanitize the house. You don't want to. You go to your seat. I'm going to. Please listen. Please. You don't want to run. It's okay. It's okay. Amendment 15 and 16. Amendment number 15 and 16. 15-16.
अगर हाउस ऑर्डर में था फाइनेंस बिल पास करने के लिए तो उतना ऑर्डर आज भी था।
The house stands adjourned to meet on Friday.
And we will talk a bit more about that Parliament session because the facts and figures are out there. But what does it really mean? And even though you have political parties blaming each other, the fact is that the joke is on you and me. A joke is on all of us because of the taxpayer money which has been wasted. KTS Tulsi, who's senior advocate Supreme Court and also Rajya Sabha member of Parliament, will be joining us, as will Nivedita Rao, who is with PRS India, who's put all that data out. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has credited BJP workers for taking the party to new heights on the party's 38th Foundation Day. Modi paid tribute to the Karyakartas of the party and hailed BJP as the party of a new India. BJP President Amit Shah assured the people that the BJP will never allow the removal of reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Addressing a rally of party workers in Mumbai, Amit Shah hit out at Congress President Rahul Gandhi and NCP President Sharad Pawar for spreading lies about the ruling government.
मैंने एक वार्ता सुनी थी, जब बहुत बड़ी बाढ़ आती है, सारे वृक्ष, पेड़, पौधे पानी में बह जाता है, एक वट वृक्ष अकेला बच जाता है, तो सांप भी उस वट वृक्ष पर चढ़ जाता है, नेवला भी चढ़ जाता है, बिल्ली भी चढ़ जाती है, कुत्ता भी चढ़ जाता है, चीता भी चढ़ जाता है, शेर भी चढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि नीचे पानी का डर है, इसलिए सब एक ही वृक्ष पर इकट्ठा होते हैं। ये मोदी जी की जो बाढ़ आई है ना, बाढ़, इसके डर से सांप, नेवला, कुत्ता, बिल्ली सब इकट्ठा होकर चुनाव लड़ने का काम कर रहे हैं।
All right, now senior advocate and former law minister of India, Shanti Bhushan, has filed a petition in the Supreme Court seeking to put a check on the powers of the Chief Justice of India as master of roster. Arpan Chaturvedi has all the details of that petition.
Well, this petition has been filed by Shanti Bhushan, and what it basically seeks is that as far as the question of listing of cases in the Supreme Court is concerned, that should not be decided just by the Chief Justice, but should involve 4 other senior judges as well, just like it happens as far as the matters of appointment is concerned. So the collegium, that's what they are seeking here. If you remember, the question of listing of cases in the Supreme Court has been a contentious issue. We saw when the CJAR petition, which related to seeking an independent inquiry into certain bribery allegations were concerned, during that time also there were questions raised on the listing, and then that time a 5-judge constitutional bench had sat and decided that it is the Chief Justice who decides which matters will be heard. He is the master of the roster, and today that decision again has come into challenge. The petitioners say that what Mr. Shanti Bhushan in his petition is saying is that there have been instances of favored listings and matters going to certain specific benches, and apart from that they have also sent a letter to the Secretary General saying that as far as the listing of this particular petition is concerned, that should not be decided by the Chief Justice, as he also has been made a party, but by 3 senior judges, 3 senior most judges of the Supreme Court, and they should be deciding as far as the listing of this particular petition is concerned.
All right, now the Defense Ministry's official website was hacked today. Chinese characters were seen on the website, leading to speculation that Chinese hackers may have been involved. The National Informatics Center is attempting to restore the website. Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the website will be restored shortly. She tweeted out saying that action has been initiated after the hacking of the website. The website should be in place soon. Needless to say, every possible step required to prevent any such eventuality in the future will be taken. Meanwhile, the website of the Home Ministry has been temporarily taken down as part of extra precautions in the wake of the hacking of the Defense Ministry site. The National Informatics Center, which hosts the MHA site, is currently upgrading the security system of the website as well. Now, fears of trade war between US and China continue to escalate. US President Donald Trump has threatened to impose tariffs on a further $100 billion of Chinese imports. In response, China said it would counter U.S. protectionism to the end and at any cost. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump's economic advisor Larry Kudlow has confirmed that U.S. trade talks with China have not yet begun, but will hopefully start in the next few months. He also said that Trump's tariffs were forced by the theft of intellectual property by China.
China is the problem, okay? China is the problem. President Trump is the solution, in my judgment. This is the first president in 20 years to have the backbone to go in and challenge China on the kind of unfair and illegal trading practices that they have adopted for the past several decades. President Trump indicated to me for the umpteenth time that he has great respect for President Xi, and Xi has respect for President Trump, and President Trump regards Xi as somebody who would be a very talented negotiator if and when negotiations begin. They have not really begun yet. China's response to our complaints, their response has been unsatisfactory.
Now, Facebook's second-in-command, Sheryl Sandberg, has accepted responsibility for the massive data leak at the social networking giant. In an interview with Bloomberg's Emily Chang, she said she personally made mistakes and that the company had been too slow to respond.
I feel deeply personally responsible because there are real mistakes that we made and that I made. And I think when you take a step back and you think about what's happened here, for a long time, we were really focused on building social experiences. And a lot of good happened because of those. And when we found problems, we would shut down that problem. So the specific case of the Friends of Friends sharing that happened with Cambridge Analytica, that specific case was shut down in 2015. But what we didn't do until recently, and what we're doing now, is just take a broader view, looking to be more restrictive in ways data could be misused. We also didn't build our operations fast enough, and that's on me. We had 10,000 people working in security at the beginning of the year. At the end of this year alone, we will more than double to 20,000. We are massively investing in smart technology, and we're doing all of this to make sure that we get to a place where we can proactively protect people's data.
Facebook has constructed a business model that leverages personal data that users share with Facebook, and you are the chief architect of that. Assuming the business model will evolve as a result of all these changes, how will that impact the bottom line? How will that impact profitability?
We've never run this company for short-term gains, and we've never run this company to maximize profits. We run this company for the long-term health of our community and business. We announced 2 quarters ago in earnings that these investments are big and they will impact profitability. And that's okay with us because it's the right thing to do. We want to make these investments. We'll update at the next quarter.
So, talk a little bit about, you mentioned that a few advertisers have paused their spending as a result of this. How big is that pause? Can you give us any color?
It's a few advertisers, but what matters is not how big it is. What matters is the questions they're asking. So advertisers are people. They're people who use Facebook. So are investors. And everyone wants to know the same thing, which is, are you protecting people's data? I think the advertisers and people who use Facebook also want to know that the good things will continue. And those are really important as well.
Mark has been asked if he's the right person to lead Facebook. Do you believe that he is? He said he is. Do you agree?
I believe deeply in Mark. Mark had a vision for what social services and social sharing could be, and that vision remains really important. Mark also, along with me and all of us, take full responsibility for what's happening here. And we're making a very important shift. We're going to keep building social products because sharing is so important to people all over the world. And we're going to be much more proactive. Emily, I'm not going to sit here and say we won't find more problems. We will. We are going to continue to find problems. We are going to continue to shut down situations when we find them. And this is a forever thing because security is an arms race. This is something that we're signed up for, not just now, but on an ongoing basis.
Sir, please believe.